it is. If they're exhibiting any of these behaviors, why do I... Get away from her. I'm gonna get them. Don't let them do that to you, okay? But don't put up with red flags.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
I would immediately enact solutions of ways that I could change myself, thinking that was my friend, that was someone who cared about me, so I took it to mean that he must be right. His feelings are his feelings, and if he feels that way about what he says happened, I mean, those are his feelings. So I took them at face value, and I would break myself trying to do better. After a while of this happening, though, and it never being a possibility that I was able to be recognized that I was doing better, I kept hitting a wall of it never improving. And I went, you know what? It's gotta be maybe not me, because I've tried everything. Hello, I'm in a totally different outfit, and I'm on a totally different day, and it's a totally different me. I ran out of time in my last recording. And you know what? Honestly, I wasn't gonna finish this video. I'm gonna tell you. I was just gonna be like, okay, well, that wasn't meant to be. I'm just gonna chalk that up to the wind, and I'm gonna just toss out that topic. But something told me every time I scrolled past the footage that somebody needs to hear this message badly, and it's gonna change their lives. So number 5 is looking out for red flags. What is the biggest problem about red flags, guys? What is it? We ignore them. Flat out, just blatantly ignore them.
Should have been a red flag at the time, but he was pretty cute.
We just completely act like we don't see them.
You've heard this story before, right?
Yes, but the drama.
I don't know how you are in relationships, or like when you meet somebody that you actually like, because I don't like a lot of people all the time.
Sorry.
You know, in that level. And so when I meet somebody that I really do like, I don't know what happens. It's almost like I just forget what the color red is. It looks more like a pink peachy. It looks like a light watermelon to me. I mean, that's probably fine. We can get past that. Ignore it. That is the dumbest thing you could ever do. Do not do that. Okay? Don't ignore red flags. Red flags are there for a reason. So let me just put it in perspective here a little bit. Although I'm nearly positive you've all experienced this yourself. My last relationship, it was 3.5 years together, okay? So I saw the first major red flag that absolutely should have been deal breaker, done, we're over, when I was 5 months into the relationship. Yeah. 5 months in, there was a red flag that, break up. Should have broke up. Done. It wasn't cheating. It wasn't putting your hands on me, or it wasn't calling me a bad word or anything like that. But it was definitely disrespectful. It was definitely one of these things I'm going to go over for blazing red flags. That's mayday, get out of there. Okay? No matter what. I don't care how much you like them. I don't care. I don't care. I care. Okay, I care. I'm sorry. I care about you. I care about you. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to say it like that. I care about you, okay? But baby, I don't care. Ouch! Okay, I don't get away from him or get away from her. But I don't care about that. Whatever it is, if they're exhibiting any of these behaviors, why do I? Get away from her. I'm gonna get them. Don't let them do that to you, okay? But don't put up with red flags. These are the really big ones you want to look out for. These are the ones that there's never a reason to stay with somebody when they do this. The deal breakers being addressed here are going to be, in my opinion, instant breakup type of deal breakers. We're not even talking about physical violence or anything of that level, because those aren't even deal breakers. Those are givens. I'm talking about emotional abuse, things that you just should not tolerate even once. Controlling behavior, monitoring, jealousy and possessiveness, dictating appearance, making decisions unilaterally, time control, emotional withdrawal as punishment, forbidding personal growth, manipulation, love bombing, scapegoating, withholding affection or love, conditional love, using intimacy as a weapon, false promises, undermining self-esteem, backhanded compliments, or emotional abuse, verbal insults, humiliation and ridicule, constant criticism, gaslighting, blaming and shaming, isolation, interfering with relationships, emotional neglect. So there's your obvious big ones, like somebody puts their hands on you. Like, do we even need to say these? I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something because this is real. This is a real thing in my life. The relationship I'm briefly referring to right here is not the one I've been talking about for most of this video. It was one before that. So in that relationship, I did experience a significant level of physical abuse where I was physically harmed. Domestic violence going on badly throughout the 12 years. I mean, I don't think it started right at the beginning, but because we were just kids. But once we lived together, and then maybe even before. Because of that, and because that relationship was highly marked with infidelity as well, I was constantly finding out that he was cheating on me and going outside of the relationship in that way as well. As you know, I have an anxious preoccupied attachment style. I've talked about this a few times. It might be a rumor. And so I stayed in that relationship over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Every time he did these things to me, and I didn't have a lot of other relationships, I guess, to go by besides my parents. I knew it didn't feel right. I knew that it wasn't something I could just overlook. I got very upset each and every time, but I never left.
Wait. Wow, that's not what I meant.
I left. I would leave. I would leave, and then I would say I'm moving on, and then there would be the whole, like, pulling us back together type thing. The sorries, the apologies, I'll never do it again, and get back together. Okay? That's not the point of this. I didn't want to talk about that really. I just wanted to say that because of this, and now I'm very curious because I was never very empowered to talk very much about this because I was ashamed of it. So up until my most recent years, I haven't gotten to really dive into this at all because it was hidden and it wasn't something that I felt comfortable enough to talk about. I didn't even really coin it, abuse. I didn't even say the words, even though it was like textbook. I mean, physical abuse, it's not that hard to define. That's what it was. I hadn't processed it enough to be able to talk about it. And now I feel very past that and I feel like I can. So I'm just very curious if anyone else has gone through something like that. If you experienced this same thing that I experienced, once you get into the next relationship that you're in your life and you're having to kind of navigate what the actual standards of a relationship are, because your bar was literally on the floor and you never really got instructed on what you should be expecting until it was way too late. You know, in passing, you'll hear women that are very empowered saying things like,
"Don't settle for less. You're a gift. Wear your crown."
Whatever. Or like,
I wouldn't put up with that crap. No, I'm a diva.
I don't even know what they said in my generation.
I'm a boss beach.
I don't know. You're a nerd. But anywho, I would hear it, but I didn't know how to actually define the standard. And what ended up happening consequentially is that I moved into my next relationship with the bar remaining on the floor. Ta-da! Very early on, he asked me, what are your deal breakers? So mine were very obvious. No cheating. Don't put your hands on me. And stay committed. Keep putting in your effort into the relationship. If we're not getting along, we're not doing well, there should be an effort going on. You should care. So I guess I would call that like neglect of the relationship. So if you know that we're on the rocks, but you're just off in la la land and you're just not doing anything to do anything about it, and you're like blaming it on me, or you're not accepting any of my like offered solutions. It's not like we're going to figure this out and like making efforts. You're just like,
whatever, get over it.
That's complete neglect of the commitment, and that would be qualified as my deal breakers. So I had 3, okay? What I didn't realize is that those are not deal breakers. You don't need to say those, okay? That is a given in a monogamous relationship. That's a given. 1, don't put your hands on another person is a natural law of the land. You don't have to say that in a relationship. You can't do that. I didn't need to include that. And then 2, don't cheat. Like,
oh, please don't. If you do that thing, that's like the baseline agreement of the fact of the definition of monogamy and us being in a relationship. I'm gonna have to hold you to it.
Duh. And then neglect of the commitment. Like, of course, the commitment is everything. So if you're neglecting it, you're not in the relationship. So that was just somebody breaking up with me without breaking up with me. So like, I really didn't set any deal breakers. I had no deal breakers. I didn't realize this though. I thought those were pretty good ones. I was like,
yeah, I'm glad I learned that in my last relationship.
And I did. I did learn that because before, those clearly weren't my deal breakers. And that's, I apologize to my inner child. I apologize. Poor girl. We're working it out. I learned that from my last relationship. I was like, look how far I've come. I know I don't want that or that. Little did I know. Ding, ding, ding. When you're not dealing with desperate, bottom of the barrel, terrible, horrible behaviors, there's so many little covert little minions that could sneak into any relationship at any given time there's just so many. There's so many other things that can go wrong besides cheating, hurting each other like physically, or neglecting each other. There's a world of other red flags. No. That's why this was hard for me. It's really important to know what red flags are red flags. First of all, get to know them. Number 6, you receive little to no emotional support. If you experience a rough time, which, hey, life chances are, you're gonna. I will say if you're with a more dismissive, avoidant partner, or even a fearful avoidant partner, at times this can be an issue, but it still doesn't make it okay. It still doesn't make it okay just because it's their attachment style, and it's still something that you should address. And you should point out that in a healthy relationship, two people would emotionally support each other, and you would like to get to know better how they feel comfortable doing that, because you would like to be an emotional support system for them, as well as you need them to be an emotional support system for you. It's interdependence. You guys need to be able to depend on each other at times. If they are not willing to kind of learn that language in a relationship and even entertain it, if they're just like absolutely not, and if you are going through a hard time, you should feel like you can lean on your partner. They shouldn't make you feel like a burden, because you're going through a difficult time in your life that you didn't ask for. They should be a support system for you. And if they're not treating you very well then. Okay, boom. If you are having a bit of an emotional roller coaster time in your life, and this is where the self-reflection part comes in. So you kind of need to assess, like, how often do I get really emotional? Let's see. Let me maybe keep a little bit of a log if you're not sure, and kind of mark down what your patterns are. And if you're noticing it's like often, and it's like very heavy emotion, like, you're bursting into tears, or you're just going like off the wall emotions. You're just like very volatile, up and down. So in a perfect world, a partner that is treating you well is going to offer empathy and support. They're going to listen to you. They're going to tell you that they're there for you. They're going to be a comfort for you. Okay. Is everybody very equipped with this ability just right out the gates? Maybe not. I feel like you're not being emotionally supported. This would be a very warranted reason to bring that up and ask your partner that you guys do some work in that arena, because that is a basic human need. Even though your partner might be very dismissive or dismissive avoidant, they also need emotional support. They just won't tell you that. They will just hope that you can guess. That's just not going to work. So if you're noticing that, then yes, it is likely your partner that is not putting the effort in. However, it doesn't mean maybe this would be a deal breaker. You would just want to check in with them, express how important it is to you and to the relationship. And as long as they're willing to work at it and take that seriously, then that's a good sign. If they just shut it down, they try to put you down about it, they try to put your emotions down, they tell you that your emotions are a burden, these are all really big like no-nos, and that's a mistreatment. And that is not coming from you and your emotional volatility, no matter what they might tell you. Check in with a professional, get some therapy, unpack these things. If you're really in a relationship where you're actually considering, like,
Is it me? Am I going crazy? Am I sabotaging that I don't know I'm doing it? Or is this person being really like covertly rude to me, over criticizing me and just finding error with me? And I didn't think I was that bad, but like maybe I'm doing things I don't realize.
if you're having that type of an internal crisis like that, like I was, go talk to a therapist. They can help you to figure this out. They'll probably help you get a lot of clarity in this area. So this is a good one. This is a great tactic. Number 8, comparing with other relationships. Okay, so normally that sounds terrible. Don't do that. Don't like compare normal things like
Jesse and Stacy got married in 2 years and it's been 3, Brad. When are you going to do it?
like don't do that. And don't do it on like Facebook or anything. But comparing other relationships, as in think about your relationships that you've had, and think about if you've had other relationships and this has never been a complaint for you. This isn't going to be a surefire way, because even if this has been a complaint for you in other relationships, it doesn't necessarily still mean that it's you. And even if it never has been a complaint in other relationships, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not you. It's just kind of like a check-in to just to see. It might help. If you have a bunch of friends and you have a big family and you have had multiple other relationships and you've never been told that you are selfish and a flirt and a liar and all these things that this person's like telling you that you are, then chances are this person is the one bringing that. Okay? It's not always that obvious though. So this could be a place where you could look, but if it's just not really revealing anything to you, then throw that one out. Number 9. Gaslighting. Dun dun dun. Gaslighting. That's not the thing. Gaslighting. Gaslighting. Ooh, gaslighting. Okay, so what is gaslighting? Because gaslighting is a term. I just said gaslighting like 12 times. I feel like gaslighting. It doesn't even sound like a word anymore. Gaslighting. See, that's how you gaslight yourself. Am I saying a word? I don't know. I'm gaslighting myself. Gaslit. Jesus. Gaslighting comes from a term from a movie from I think the 80s or the 70s or something like that, where this guy was emotionally abusing his wife because he wanted to get her committed because he was trying to get rid of her or something like that. I might have a few details wrong because I haven't actually seen the movie. I've just heard about it. But it's called Gaslight or Gaslighting. And it was about how he just slowly makes her feel like she's going insane by slowly turning the gas down in the house or whatever, like fuel. It was like the 80s or something. I don't know. It like fuels the lights. I don't know how it works, but it would make the lights dimmer. And then as she started to notice, and she would be like,
Do you notice the lights are dim in here? Like, I can't see you anymore. Like, what? Hello?
he would just be like,
The lights look exactly the same.
and he would just act like she was confused or crazy. And then she thought she was going crazy as well. So then he could get her committed to like some mental hospital and like, I don't know, run off with his girlfriend or something. I don't know what the purpose was, but I guess because he was a manipulative, terrible person or something. It was very sinister. I'm not sure what the plot is, but he tried to gaslight her, okay? That's why it's called that. Gaslighting is used to manipulate you. It's used to control you. It's just another one of those behaviors. If you're being told that a situation that you know blatantly happened a certain way did not happen, if you're being told that a whole conversation didn't happen, that definitely did, you come up upon something in your relationship, you remember it one way. Or your partner is accusing you of something. They're very critical of you on something, and you're just like, that's not true. I'm not like that. Sometimes we can misread a situation, and we might think that we're being gaslit because we're prone to think that people are going to betray us, or people are lying, or we are misreading it, or we're misremembering. We actually are misremembering. So that's why this one is one of those where you're like, I don't know, in this type of a dynamic, okay? Here's something to help you with this. If there isn't any method of proof that you can gather that that is not true and that actually the reality is more what you're saying. If they say that you don't do something, but you have proof that you do it, way more often than they're giving you credit for. They're like,
No, you're not. You're way off. You're crazy.
First, ask yourself, do you have any evidence connected to this issue? Any documents that are solid? Any text messages with dates? Anything like that? Solid proof, not proof that you have created, but integrous proof. If you do, gather that proof and present it to your partner. And then you're going to ask yourself, how does your partner react to the factual evidence? If they acknowledge that they misremembered and apologize and commit to working on repairing the damage that has been done, that is a great sign. They might not do that right away. Understand that sometimes people take a while to come around to this. But if they give it a credible reaction and they accept that it is proof, then this person has likely not been intentionally mistreating you. Make sure you also take accountability for your part and begin repairing your relationship if you still want to save it. This is the best outcome that can happen. The other way is that they ignore, dismiss, deflect, devalue, or somehow disregard the proof. Or they might even refuse to look at it or say that they don't want to read it. It's too long. And then they'll continue to insist on their opposing viewpoint. This is definitely not the outcome you'd like, but it might mean that this person is intentionally mistreating you. And that definitely means that they do not plan to accept accountability or stop doing what they're doing, nor do they mean to make any amends. They've now seen proof that what they've been saying is incorrect, and they know that it's hurting you, but they are consciously making a decision to continue the behavior. This would be a great indicator that you need to get out of this relationship. Now, if you don't have any evidence connected to the issue, it makes it a little bit more difficult to identify whether you're being gaslit or not. In that case, you just have to use your intuition and be open to your partner's experience as well. If they're willing to talk with you, consider what they have to say, and then try to consider maybe focusing more around what your emotions are and what their emotions are, rather than the actual events that took place. Whether you are being gaslit or not in this situation, it's obvious that a breach in trust has occurred, and that's what you want to focus on repairing. And so long as you are willing and you have a willing partner that wants to put in an effort, then I would keep moving forward in trying to repair that. You're going to show them some type of proof that they would have to make leaps and bounds to explain it away. They would have to really want to be blind to it. So like receipts, text messages with dates, things like that. If you bring that to your partner and you show them without a shadow of a doubt and objectively that what they have been saying about you is not true. My ex-partner used to tell me a lot of things financially. They used to say that, they do all this and this and that. But what I knew by way of math and numbers was that was not the case, and that they were overlooking many things. When someone looks at proof of something that they've said is a different way, and you show them blatant proof, and they continue to hold on to that statement, they continue to hold on to what they were saying about you, they continue to treat you the same exact way after that, well then, honey, you have your answer. Don't take the time to compile any more evidence. Don't take the time to compile any more documents, because they're involved in cognitive dissonance, just completely blind to anything that just proves them wrong. That person is not seeking the truth, and they're not seeking a solution. They are seeking to make you in the wrong, and they are seeking for them to be in control and be right. And they will probably do it against any proof that you bring forth if they're denying blatant proof. So you did your due diligence, and you can rest assured it is your partner's problem. And I would say at that point, get out of that relationship immediately, because that behavior is it can be really dangerous, and it can really have a really terrible detrimental emotional effect on you over time if you keep enduring it. Number 10, trust your instincts. Okay? Trust your intuition. What is it telling you? If you want to get real honest with yourself, and maybe, I don't know, I don't really do meditation. It's kind of like not my thing, but I've been trying to kind of dabble, I guess, because it's like good for you. So if I was trying to get mindful, I would sit in a quiet place and relax and maybe talk myself through a few reassurances, like honesty is the way to the truth, and it's okay to be wrong. I give myself grace. I can get things wrong sometimes, but then I can make them right if I'm honest about it, So I want to really get myself in that space where I feel comfortable with myself. What is it going to help if you trust your intuition or you trust your gut if you're not a self-reflective person and you skew things to fit your narratives and you tell half-truths? It'll serve your purpose if that's like literally your purpose that you're going to stick with, but it's not going to get you anywhere. I think that a lot of times people are actually trying to avoid the truth. And that's why it's so hard to get to the truth for the person who is seeking the truth. So that's the problem. But if you are seeking the truth, you don't have to let somebody else who's trying to keep the truth from coming out, because it serves them to keep all these mysteries up, and keep them safe from having to face accountability. Here's the thing. Accountability, it's not that bad. Like, if someone is truly suffering that bad from feeling like they can't take accountability for something that happened in a relationship, then they may have the core wound, I am bad, so look into that. You can work those wounds out and you can heal that stuff, because avoiding is just procrastinating the inevitable, and also making certain that it's going to end up the way you don't want it to end up. So what's the point of that? That's all 10. Thank you for listening to that. The reason I did this topic, obviously, is because it was a topic of concern for me that I recently was very invested in trying to figure out how to find this out. It was because I was just largely confused about what the heck could be going on. It didn't make any sense. And I particularly despise things that don't make sense, because they should make sense. I can figure it out. This one wasn't making sense, no matter what I was doing to figure it out. I will say that to this day, this is how this type of thing ends if you don't address it early. An entire year later, after leaving that relationship, when I was still very much in love, I had to leave that relationship when I was madly and deeply still very in love with that person. And it was so extremely painful. But I was proud of myself because I finally did actually leave. Let me just tell you what exhausting these efforts did when I did it way too late. I mean, it's never too late. Do it now. Do it absolutely right now. I wish I would have done it a lot sooner because I just jumped through a bunch of hoops and did a lot of investigating and did a lot of time-consuming compiling of reports and evidence in efforts from my end to try to eradicate this mystery that my partner was somehow unintentionally just destroying our relationship. I had to save it. You know, I had to just, if I could just get that one bit of proof that would make sense to him, right? But as I mentioned before, this person would not only just absolutely ignore blatant proof that I'm showing to him, he would either just not look at it, he would degrade it, basically tear it apart and act like it wasn't useful and that it didn't say what I'm saying it says. You know, it's there in plain English or numbers, you know, not really disputable. Or he would deflect, run away, dismiss me. He would refuse to talk about it. He would just, all along the way, he would just employ a million different tactics. If to present the evidence, it would take a long document. I would put in a bunch of work and I would compile that long document, and then he would mock me for the fact that I have too much time on my hands and that he's not going to read all that. No one would. I was believing that I could somehow find some redemption for this person that would treat me so disrespectfully. I loved them, I was there for them, and regardless of how they looked at the situation, hands down, in so many ways, they treated me worse than a stranger. They treated me for absolutely still reasons I cannot ever put my finger on. I still to this day do not know precisely what the reason is that this person behaved that way. To this day, they have stuck by their story. To this day, they have not apologized for anything. And eventually, it just led to, like, I can't even have this person anywhere near my life. I can't even speak to them because they retell a story that just didn't happen that way at all. And it's mind-blowing. And I don't even recognize the person that I used to love in that person anymore. That's not who that is. It's taken me a long time to get over it. I am not over it yet. I'm getting there. But I don't want other people to go through what I went through. It should never have taken 3.5 years to see what this person was about. That's going to be it for today. I just want to get in close and tell you, even people that have a grievance with you, even people who don't like something that you're doing, or maybe they think that there's a flaw about you and they want you to change it, they're going to share that flaw with you, or they're going to share that grievance with you. They're going to tell you exactly what they'd like for you to change, or they're going to just at least show some type of effort for that to happen. They're going to express that they wish they could do that, but they don't know how, that they're having trouble doing that. When someone loves you, they are going to try to make it better. They're not going to be an impossible wall of friction that you can't get past, no matter how hard you try. If you know that you are trying your hardest, you don't need to do another damn thing to find out if this is them or you, okay? You know that you tried, right? You know that you have talked to them, right? You know that you have offered solutions, right? You know that you have taken what they've said into consideration, right? And then try to implement those things, if they would even talk about some things, or if they would just not be obscure about everything, right? Yeah. You know that you're a good person. You know that you have the best of intentions, right? You don't have some like covert and mission going on where you're trying to like catch them up in something, right? You're not trying to hurt them. You're not trying to take from them. You're not trying to trick them. You're not trying to betray them, right? Okay, so then if you're not trying to do any of those things, even if two people were just like insanely incompatible and couldn't get along, I mean, there would be just an amicable point of like of some respect and some effort, okay? If you're running into someone that is just completely bullheaded and is just a brick wall that you can never get anywhere with, it's them. Just accept it and get on out of there as fast as you can, okay? The longer you stay, the more exponentially painful it is going to be when you leave. And that starts today. So, okay? So no matter what day you're in, if you say like, when is it like time to leave? It's time to leave today. If these things are pointing to that they're mistreating you, it's time to leave today. Because tomorrow the pain's more. It's more. Every day that goes by, it's more pain. You don't deserve to be mistreated. Believe in you. And start healing whatever is leading you to put up with this behavior. Heal that inside of you so that your next partner can be qualified to reap the benefits of all of these amazing things that you have to offer. When you just keep coming to that wall, you know why that wall is there? Because that person wants that wall there for some reason. They want it there. They're actively getting up and putting that wall there every single day for you to run your head into, okay? They know it's there. They know you're running into it. They know that they're putting it there. Because you getting past it is something that is not desirable for them. And whether you can put your finger on what that is or not, it doesn't matter. They are seeing what that is doing to you in your relationship, and they're willing. Whatever it is that they're hiding or keeping or not willing to face is so dire to them that it is worth losing you. Accept that. And let them lose you, please, because you are worth more than that.